This is how I felt as a Black woman traveling solo in Salvador. Now, Salvador is a place in Brazil that everybody told me I would love and I would really feel comfortable in, and nobody lied. They were 100% correct. As a Black American specifically traveling in Salvador, I felt so comfortable. Like, there's not any other place where I've been where I felt so at home. Like, I immediately blended in. People were so nice and welcoming. Like, in general, I feel like Brazilians are quite welcoming. In Salvador, I thought it was on another level. So as a solo traveler, I was always comfortable. People went out of their way to make sure I was doing all right. People were always willing to help me out, and I found it fairly easy to navigate the city. Even being by myself, I felt totally safe walking around pretty much everywhere by myself. I mean, it's easy to blend in, so that also helps a lot with safety. And if I wasn't walking, I was taking Uber because Uber I found affordable for me coming from the US dollar, and also was super convenient. But overall, I feel like this has to be probably one of the best places I've ever been as a Black solo traveler. I really cannot emphasize it enough. Like, people are not coming here as much as I feel like they should, especially Black Americans. Black Americans, if you're looking at some place to go, you need to look into Salvador, Brazil. It is just incredible. You have to see it to believe it.
On my 6th day in Brazil, I had a drink so tasty that I literally tried to ship it back to America.
Well, let's start at the beginning. So the agenda for this day was to really just get cute, go to the beach, lay out in the sun, and have a good time. However, it was a little cloudy, so instead we were like, let's take pictures on the roof of our Airbnb. These clips from the rooftop are from our first day there when the weather was good, but here's the weather. And honestly, usually I'd be a little sad that it wasn't sunny on vacation, but it's winter in Rio. And if this is the weather in the winter, I'll take it. You know, we had a little photo shoot. These have not hit Instagram yet, but follow me on there if you want to see them when they drop. And we were just in a little silly, goofy mood. So we were dancing. We tried to get like our spirits up for the photo shoot. And guys, this guy literally was watching us dance from below. And I was screaming. That's so funny. We didn't think anyone was watching us. And here I am in a silly, goofy mood. Can you tell I love Brazil? I literally bought this flag. I'm blowing it in the wind. So after our photo shoot, we changed our outfits and got dressed to hit the town. Like I mentioned before, this trip was very much just to go with the flow, very loose itinerary type of trip. And honestly, it worked out in our favor. Like on this day, for example, we were gonna have a beach day, but the sun wasn't out. So we were like, let's just switch it up and do something else. And nothing had to be changed. No reservations had to be moved because literally nothing was booked. We walked through Leblon, which is so cute and bougie. And we went to Sushi Leblon, which actually a few people recommended to us. And guys, I love sushi. So when we walked in and I saw the aesthetic, I saw the sushi chefs at work, I was excited. And you know, we had to start with the caipirinha de maracuja, okay? And to my Brazilians, don't come for me. My Portuguese is not good, but when I come back, I hope one of you are gonna teach me. So we started off with some tasty appetizers, and then for our main, we got this platter of all the chef's recommendations, and then we got these noodles as well. And guys, like, we would eat the ones that we knew and have tried before, and then things we didn't know. This is us trying the quail egg. I've always been interested in quail egg, but I've never had it. And guys, it really just tastes like egg, so we were freaking out for nothing. Whenever I go to a new country, like me and my cousin always go out of our way to try different things we've never tried before. And yes, this was sushi, but this cheese ice cream and dulce de leche, so delicious. Oh my God, and then I saw Santa Claus outside. But this cheese ice cream and dulce de leche, I was like, cheese ice cream. Oh my gosh, I'm still thinking about it. So freaking good. Sushi Leblon was a 10 out of 10. And like I said, we were just vibing this day. We didn't have anything else to do, so we were like, let's just get more drinks. So we went over to Boa Praca, which is like literally down the street from Sushi Leblon, and it was so cute in here. Honestly, we only walked in because one of the guys in there working was cute. My drink was tasty, but my cousin didn't really like her kiwi drink, so she got a guarana. I think that's how you say it instead, because we love those. And then that night we were like, let's go out to party. So I know this is off season, but we still wanted to turn up somewhere. And one of the guys we met recommended us to go to Bosque Bar. I don't know how old he thought we were. I think he thought we were like 21, because when we got here, everyone was so freaking young. Everyone was literally like 18 to 21. And we were like, oh my gosh, we're the oldest people here. And then when we were ordering drinks, I saw something on the menu that said Don Luis. And I was like, maybe that's Don Julio, but Portuguese. Guys, they brought out this brown drink and I was like, what is that? And I searched it and it said it had dulce de leche in it. So we were like, okay, let's just try it. So freaking good. I am now so obsessed with Don Luis. Like,
I literally tried to order it on the spot and found out they don't ship internationally. Imagine my heartbreak.
Guys, they also had this food place in there. So my cousin thought she ordered pastel de carne, but she ordered shish kebabs instead. And it's funny because on the first day when we tried farofa, we didn't like it. And we were like, kind of tastes sandy almost. But we had this one. And it's funny that it was at a club, but The meat and the farofa here was so good. Look, we were avoiding it the whole trip, but this day, look, I'm dipping in the farofa. I said, oh, this is too good. And then I got fries because I always get fries. And as we were eating, I looked up and I was like, Christ the Redeemer. And you guys were like, why aren't you guys gonna go? We're going tomorrow. That's the next vlog. We are going to see Christ the Redeemer finally. But back to the party. So the crowd was really young, but hey, the kids were turning up. I wish I had something like this when I was 18 to turn up with my friends, honestly. They even had dancers, and the dancers were lit. The DJ was lit. They were turning up together, and I wanted them to play that little shark song so bad, and they did, but I didn't get a video of it. Like, you know, da 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 da. Da, 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 da. You know the one. So after we were here, we were like, okay, let's leave here and go somewhere else where there's an older crowd. So we went to Joby, but we are so dumb. We don't speak Portuguese. So yes, everyone was older at Joby, but they were just hanging out. Everyone was talking, but we couldn't speak to anybody. So we ended our night there and tuned in tomorrow because it's my favorite day.
We booked the same day flight to Brazil. Let me show you how it went. Now, I thought I was much more prepared for this trip than I actually was, but we got the last 2 seats on this flight, so I was just happy to be here. Now, when I realized I didn't pack a comb, headphones, or sanitizer for this trip, I knew this was the start of a downward spiral. But after 11 hours, we made it to our layover in Argentina. I look crazy, and I don't even know if I packed my brush. On our next flight, there was no TV, so we had to go to sleep. But I got my wine, and we made it to Brazil. Copacabana gave me Miami times 10, but for some reason I started feeling sick. We made it to our hotel and I took a shot immediately because I'm sick. There was views and vibes, and of course I was gonna get myself together, friends. I wasn't gonna go too long without a comb. Dinner was all you can eat seafood, steak, and oxtail, and there was Louis bags on the ceiling. But at this point I was feeling like I had strep throat or something. I don't know. But I didn't come this far for us not to go out in Rio because the nightlife was crazy. But like I said, this was the beginning of a downward spiral.
Okay, so since y'all asking, I have to make this its own playlist. This is episode 1, Traveling as Black Girls in Brazil. Get ready with me for the best day of my life before I even knew it was going to be the best day of my life. We are going helicopter riding. Yes, I said it. Helicopter riding, y'all. Every single activity we participated in was as low as $100 per person, with it only being the 3 of us. Honestly, the camera did no justice. The views were immaculate. We felt completely safe in the helicopter we were in. Despite it being nervous at the beginning, this was the best part of the trip, y'all. We've seen so many monumental points of Brazil, including Christ the Redeemer, right here, my favorite. I was about to cry, y'all. I couldn't help it. Thank you, God. I kept saying it, thank you, God. If you are going to Brazil, please don't leave until you book a helicopter ride.
This is how I felt as a black woman traveling solo in Rio. I feel like generally Rio does have a bad reputation. People always say bad things about it, so I was kind of nervous about going there by myself. But in the end, it ended up being a really great experience. I found people to be super friendly and helpful if I needed it, and I didn't have to deal with any people like harass me. I know a lot of people, when I talked to them about going to Rio, they told me that they were harassed a lot in the street and stuff like that. I didn't have any of that. Nobody bothered me at all. In terms of general safety, I didn't have any issues either. That being said, I did take more precautions than I have previously. For example, I have a really bad habit of having my phone in my hand, so I didn't do that when I was in Rio just to minimize any risk of my phone getting stolen, and I was fine. I also didn't wear a whole bunch of like gold jewelry like I typically do. I was trying to play it more safe. I also took Ubers everywhere. I know public transportation is an option, but I feel like I don't want to make myself vulnerable in public transportation because I get flustered sometimes with like the different lines and stuff like that. So I just took an Uber because it was affordable for me coming from the US dollar. Also didn't walk around at night here. I just wasn't going to risk it either. I don't like to do that in many places, so this really wasn't an exception. And in terms of being a black woman specifically, it's very easy in Rio. Tons of black people. I didn't stick out at all. People were super chill and cool, so that was nice. Overall, I had a good experience traveling in Rio by myself. I would do it again. I don't recommend it for people who don't speak Portuguese and don't have street smarts, but I would do it again. This is how I felt as a black woman traveling solo in Sao Paulo. I came here right after coming to Rio, and generally I would say again that it was a positive experience. Sao Paulo is like a ginormous city, so it's so easy to do a bunch of things by yourself and like kind of just get lost in the crowd, which I really like. I walked around by myself during the day and I didn't have any issues at all. People didn't bother me or anything. It was pretty chill. And again, public transportation was an option, but I found Ubers to be easier and affordable for me coming from the US dollar, so I just stuck to that. In terms of general safety, I never felt like I was ever in any danger or any threats or anything like that. I know at one point I was taking a walking tour, my guide recommended for me to take my necklace off, and I was like, oh, okay. But for me, like, I didn't think it was an issue, but I'm glad he told me. And then in terms of being a black woman specifically, I mean, I didn't really stick out. There's not a whole bunch of black people that I saw in Sao Paulo, but I still didn't stick out. It's just like kind of like being in the US, I felt like. For the most part, people were really cool, and the only time I did have one bad incident was in the airport. I was at the lounge, and it was really a weird situation. I'll link the video so you can listen for yourselves, but basically I was kind of kicked out to make room for some other guy, and I was like, this, come on now, like, it didn't make any sense. But other than that, actual people that I interacted with outside in the city, outside of the airport, were totally cool. But yeah, I actually really like Sao Paulo. I think it's a cool city, and I recommend it. I would go again by myself, but I recommend it more if you speak Portuguese and you've done solo travel before and you have street smarts.
I've been in Brazil for about a week and I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. Brazil is the blackest country outside of Africa, and it's been refreshing to be in an environment where no one is taken aback by my blackness. I feel normal here, something that everyone deserves to feel. I will say the language barrier can be overwhelming, but my Spanish is helping a lot. I usually now follow Portuguese, and people are very understanding. I did have issues with housing. It is peak tourist season and very hard to find a good place. Eventually, I found a beautiful place in rural Rio de Janeiro. A lot of people have been asking about safety. There are some rougher areas, but I have not felt unsafe. In fact, I've been meeting great people, and I even started volunteering to help the local communities. I'm excited to celebrate the new year here, and even more excited for Carnival. Stay tuned.
Day one in Brazil, and let me tell you guys, this is probably one of my favorite trips, and I will be back. So we went to Miami for about 10 hours, and then from here we left and went to Sao Paulo, had a 5-hour layover, and then landed in Rio de Janeiro. However, it is winter time in Brazil, so we were kind of limited on the first 2 days, but this is the view from the hotel. Also, I want to tell you guys, Brazil does not have much queen double beds or just queen beds period, so it was so hard to find a room, but we found one at the Hilton, and it was about 4 of us. On this night, we were getting ready to go to the rooftop, which is why I have my bathing suit, but then the rooftop was closed. I saw this weird little trap door on the ceiling and decided, like, is somebody up there? We were so nervous, but it was Rashida's, my best friend's 30th birthday, so we had to live it up. I tried to do a TikTok with 4 girls, and let me tell you guys, it is a challenge in itself trying to coordinate all 4 of us to do this TikTok. Honestly, a challenge. Like, everyone had a mind of their own. Pilates, honestly, is doing a damn thing for you, girl. Okay, my body is looking good, I'm not gonna lie. But then I found this outfit from Amazon, because we decided, let's go ahead and get dinner since everything is basically closed, since it was still kind of raining. Me and Rashida took some birthday photos, as you can see, and decided to bring in Rashida's birthday. We had a lot of drinks. Well, actually, I didn't drink. I had mocktails. Such a sad night for me. But the girls had champagne, so much drinks. I would say Brazil is the perfect destination for a girls' trip. And I mean it, guys. I am going back to Brazil next year. I love Brazil. The food was honestly great for me. This was day 1. Stay tuned for day 2.
So I've been in Brazil a month, and if you guys don't know, Brazil is a country that was on the top of my bucket list. Like, I am obsessed with Brazil. I came here in April for the first time. I lost my mind. Came back this summer, losing my mind again, right? And since I've been here for so long, not so long, but long enough time, I've gotten to meet so many Brazilians. I'm absolutely obsessed with Brazilians in many ways, but my favorite thing about Brazilians